Hello everyone, Ranger Danger here with my second ever countdown. In the last one we talked about my top 5 favorite lovely ladies of Lovestruck, and today we're here to talk about my favorite strapping handsome men. Without any further ado, let's get into it. This is my top 5 favorite male love interests from Lovestruck. Number 5. Number 5 is Rosy from Havenfall is for Lovers. I have to admit, when I found out that in this sort of supernatural setting where, vampires and werewolves are the usual cliche sort of things you see, having a djinn to me was just very creative, and I had to know more about him. And when I did, I loved it. He's such a great guy. He basically starts out as the MC's boss, and later becomes more, and he's got a very protective nature, which I find endearing. He's very suave and charismatic, and in his story you find out just how great of a guy he can be. You get to meet his family, and they just love you right away, and he's no slouch. He's very powerful. How his magic works is always fun to figure out, and he's got just a whole big bag full of secrets, and getting to know him that way is great. And at first he feels like the MC can't protect herself, and that kind of ticked me off at first, but then later on he learns to let her fight at his side, and that's great. Anyway, the only reason he's this low on the list is because of that one little fact. I hate it when people pull the whole, "Oh, you're my equal, but I'ma hold you back because I think you can't protect yourself" stuff. Thankfully, he does learn from it, which is why I put him here. And he turned out to just be a really great husband and father, and I can't choose any other man in Havenfall except for him. I feel like I'm cheating on him if I do. But there's no denying, Rosy's just one of the best out there. I highly recommend his story, and I mean, just look at him. Who wouldn't want to be with this amazingly handsome man? Number 4. Number 4 is Yoshimitsu Valentine from Gangsters in Love. Now, Yoshimitsu is an interesting case for me, because at the beginning, he was the only one I wanted to choose because everyone else was kind of a jerk, and he was the only one to show the MC any shred of kindness, and I'm glad I chose him. He wound up being my favorite from the entire roster, even over Aurora. He actually takes interests in the MC's hobbies, and she takes interest in his as well, to the point where he starts showing her how to use a blade, which is really great. Eventually the two of them stand side by side as equals, and never once does he ever talk down to the MC. He always treats her as though she's an equal, although there was a few times where he sort of made her feel like she was an accessory, but thankfully that was just one of the many obstacles that they were able to overcome. And after a while, he just proved to be the sweetest and nicest guy out of everyone. I haven't really adventured into any of the other male routes, but I'm really happy with Yoshimitsu. He's strong, he's capable, very charismatic, and just downright handsome. I love his look, I love his hair, and his tattoos are amazing. Getting to learn about him, his family roots, and the Yakuza is it's a really great time. And honestly, when the marriage happens and, we finally get a family, it's really amazing. I couldn't recommend it more. I would love to talk more about him, but that would be going into spoiler territory. I'll just say this. Every scene where the MC is just cuddling with Yoshimitsu and they're just talking together, those are my favorite moments of all, because he just proves that despite being such a tough gangster, he's still got a soft, warm heart inside, and that's why he's at number 4. Please check him out if you haven't already. You really will not regret it. Number 3. Number 3 is Zane Blackthorn from Sweet Enchantments. I honestly fell for this guy the moment I saw him. Just that long hair, those mysterious eyes, and the fact that it's shaved on one side, he just looks so unique. I needed to know more about him right away. So after I was finished with Leora's, I jumped onto Zane as fast as I could, and I was so happy. He's a very mysterious man, but at the same time, he's so damn charming and just a lot of fun to be around and talk to. I love that he's kind of the edgy guy with a really dark past that doesn't like to talk about it, but at the same time, he doesn't brood or anything. He always has a friendly smile and something nice to say or something funny to say. And also, the fact that he's a barista just really talks to me personally because I love coffee. And I loved getting to know him more and more and picking apart all the different secrets that he had, what was in the box, all that. It was just great. And when he started having nightmares and things like that, I wanted to help him get through it. And then, lo and behold, eventually, you do. The MC actually does help Zane get through his problems, help him face his demons, and it's just a roller coaster ride of romance, fun, dark sorcery, even scary at some points. It was I was actually scared for a minute in one of the chapters. I won't say why because I don't want to spoil anything, but trust me, it gets pretty nail-bitey after a bit. But yeah, Zane is just, wow, he's one of the most perfect men I've read in all of Lovestruck. I haven't read all men, obviously, but this guy, well, he's number 3 for a reason. I love everything about him. He's so funny and so charming and happy. It's so refreshing to see the dark character actually be pretty happy for a change, and I wouldn't trade him for any other guy in Sweet Enchantments at all. Number 2 is Reiner Wolfson from Love and Legends. This one's an interesting case because honestly, the first one I chose from Love and Legends was Isul, and while he turned out great, I just couldn't help but be curious about the Lord of the Human Realm, and I am really glad that I chose him eventually because he became my favorite out of all the men. And I actually have read all the men of Love and Legends, thankfully, so I know for a fact that Reiner's the best, at least in my opinion. And honestly, out of everyone that you can choose, Reiner to me makes the most sense given the situation. I mean, the MC is mistaken for the Witch Queen because she basically looks like her twin, and you're given the option of anyone in the room, including him and the retainers, to watch over you while you're there, kind of like Gangsters in Love. But it really clicked with me that choosing him makes the most sense because he's the Lord of the land and the one who, honestly, you need to convince the most. So, to me, it feels like the story makes the most sense based on its plot when you choose Reiner. Beyond that, he's just amazing. I was blown away, and one of the reasons I actually decided to go for him was because of a rather interesting review by Rin Salamander when she said that he was one of the best that she'd read of anyone. So, and she definitely wasn't wrong. Reiner is just the best. He's very handsome, very suave. He's surprisingly charming and a very mature man, and he makes me feel like a mature woman for being with him, and that's a weird feeling I don't get often. And he never treats me as though I'm weak or anything. He always treats, well, the MC that is, he treats her as an equal, teaches her how to fight, how to wield a blade, how to hold a shield, all this other stuff. And the fact that he's this big, burly guy that you would think would use like a hammer or a sword, no, he uses a crossbow. And yeah, that crossbow's heavy. He can either use it to shoot or whack somebody in the face with it. It's great. And on top of that, he has healing magic, which isn't something you usually see with big, burly guys. And in the later on, tiny spoiler here, but later on when you eventually go back to Chicago with Reiner, it turns out that he's a professor there, a college professor, and for some reason that just made him even more attractive to me. And not to mention the puns. He has so many puns. I swear, he's gonna make a great dad. And that's another thing. When I look for good qualities in a man, I look for the man who will make a great father to my children, and I know for a fact Reiner will be. So yes, just absolute 9.5 out of 10. He just falls short behind my number one, who we're going to get to here in just a bit. Love you, Reiner, but not quite as much as my number one. And for the honorable mentions, we have Cal from Sin With Me. Love a guy that's got the tough exterior, but with a heart of gold. He is my tsundere sloth bay, and wouldn't trade him for honestly any other man in Sin With Me, at least not yet. Leon from Queen of Thieves. He is just a wonderful, thick boy, and he has a lot of emotional baggage, and just, his route made me cry more than once, and I want to hug him all the time. Then we have Sebastian from Reigning Passions, just amazingly handsome, roguish, rebellious, and a surprising amount of fun. Like, seriously, this guy did not strike me as a type that liked to go out and have fun with things, but yeah, I was shocked. Nathan from Wicked Lawless Love. I love cowboys, westerns, and ghost stories. And this guy's all three of those wrapped up into one very sexy package. And finally, Lucas from Ever After Academy. This prince is charming in every way, and honest to goodness, I would go and be a gay man for him in 2 seconds. Only reason he didn't make the cut, honest to goodness, is because I haven't finished his route. That's the only reason. Anyway, on to number one. Number one is Hades from Astoria Fate's Kiss and Astoria Lost Kisses. Just look at him. He's the poster boy of Lovestruck for a reason. The god of the underworld, and just honestly the top tier man I would ever look for. And ironically, he has all the qualities I look for in a man in real life. 1, he works very hard. He does what he can to make sure that whatever responsibilities he has are taken care of, and that nobody has to want for anything that, and that works for him. 2nd, he's a health nut, and he just wants to, not only does he want to stay healthy, he wants to keep the MC healthy, and going along with him on his runs, eating the food that he makes, it was just amazing. And on top of that, he's very cool and calculating, but also very warm and loving, and at one moment he can be the intimidating god of the underworld, ready to lay down some smackdown on your enemies, and the next he's the caring, loving husband and father that he eventually becomes. And even though he pulls that whole we have to split up in order for me to protect you, which really got on my nerves, when we finally got back together, I was just like, you know what? That was just an obstacle. We got through it together, and now we're stronger for it. Hades, he honestly made me cry with how much I felt loved by him. And I've never had that happen with anyone else, except for one female love interest. I'm sure you all know my number one by now. But I would go back through his route quite a few times before finally settling on being satisfied with it. I've gone through his route 3 times. And I never get bored. It's beautiful every time. Not to mention, it gives you the most satisfying ending in his story. What can I say? He's the best. He's my number one for a reason. He's got great charisma, great hair, great power, a wonderful body, and I know he'll take care of me, and that he'll trust me to take care of him in return. And a little fun fact, the real big reason he's number one is he is exactly like the man I married. Yes, my husband is almost exactly like Hades to a T. It's scary. And I would not trade him for anyone in the world. And that's just the truth of it. Hades, I'm glad I chose you when I was looking for my first male route, and to this day, no one has been able to top it. He's the best, and that's that. If you guys have any other opinions, that's fine. But Hades strikes me in a place that is just very close to home. I love my loving husband. I'm glad that I was able to find one like him on Lovestruck. Just perfect. And that's it. Those are my top 5 male love interests from Lovestruck. I hope you all enjoyed. And hey, what are your top 5 male love interests, or just your favorite? Who's your favorite females? I'd love to know. And by the time I'm recording this, it is still St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day from me to all of you. Thank you all so much. This is my 10th video that I've ever made on this channel, and I love to see it growing. I'm getting very close to having 100 subscribers, and I would love to do a special video for that day, though I'm not sure what. I will be happy to take any suggestions anyone has as to what to do for my 100th episode. Keep in mind, I can do an ASMR, I can do a countdown, I can do just little voice clips from different characters, and it doesn't even have to be from Lovestruck. It can be from anywhere. Let's see, I can do from like She-Ra, Overwatch, so many things that I can do. Just comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see all of you in the next video. Ciao!